truth time. This is my daily record keeper / memory keeper, and I have not been in this on a daily basis. Actually, there's been times where I have not been in this on a weekly basis, and that completely defeats the purpose of having this as a daily memory keeper. So I'm going to chat today with you guys about my struggles and hopefully brainstorm a game plan to help me become a little bit more consistent with utilizing this on we'll say a more consistent basis. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Tracy, and on my channel, I like to play around with some stickers, stamps, stencils, and all that fun stuff in my planners and my journals. But sometimes I like to chat about what is going on in my planning and journaling life, as well as maybe even chat about some goals. So if that is something that interests you, then definitely consider hitting that subscribe button and maybe checking out some of my other videos. For all of my returning viewers, thank you so much for your continued support. I so appreciate it. So today's video is going to be part fun decorating, but part getting real with the chat. And we're going to start there. When I was talking about my 2026 lineup, I mentioned that memory keeping was a top priority of mine. That is something that at the end of every year, I regret not doing that year. It is something that I want to really become not just semi-consistent, but extremely consistent with. I would love to do it on a daily basis. And it's because I really enjoy looking back through all of my other memory keepers, photo albums, and stuff like that. So yeah, I want to try everything that I can to make this something that is going to be integrated as part of my daily life. So I wanted to use this Hemlock and Oak daily planner. I did use this back in 2025 at the beginning of the year. I also had intended to use this as a daily journal, memory keeper type thing. And I will say probably a couple weeks into 2025, I pivoted and just decided to use this as a daily planner. And that was because the memory keeper wasn't working then either. And it's not the planner. I think any planner or journal that I would be using, I would have the same struggles. It is just because this is something new for me. So it hasn't become part of that like routine or habit or what have you, which is very interesting because I am in my planner multiple times throughout the day during the weekday. On the weekends, I'm in it at least once a day. I am in some of my other journals and other planners at least every other day, sometimes like every single day as well. So I'm still trying to figure out why the struggle with this is there. But we're going to try to figure it out today and maybe come up with some game plans. So like I said, I'm going to decorate, but first I feel like we need to kind of put things down on paper as far as like brainstorming what I really want to get out of this journal. And I'm assuming that there's probably a lot of you out there that may be struggling with this as well. So that is why I wanted to do this as a video instead of sitting down and doing this on my own. So with that said, as I turn around, and you probably couldn't hear me very well, I'm just going to pull out this. This was my goal setting prep work that I did for this year. I have quite a few pages left, and I figured this is probably a good place to house it because I don't want to lose this information, and memory keeping was one of my goals, so it'll work. Basically, I was just looking for a notebook, and this one was on my desk. So what I want to do is I'm just going to pull out just a regular pen. This, like I said, I wanted to use this as a record keeper of my day. So I'm going to just write that on here. So my initial intention, so we're going to say my daily planner. I do write really sloppy, so I'll just say what I'm writing because you will not be able to read it. Okay, so I'm going to say the purpose was, it's just a record of my day. Now, when I was kind of thinking about that and even expanding on that more, I definitely, this one in particular, this Hemlock and Oak daily has hours over here on the left-hand side of each page. And it goes from 5 a.m. to, I guess, 11:30 p.m. or you can even say midnight if you ignore the little heart. I want to utilize that because I feel like auditing my day and auditing my time could be helpful. Now, do I need to do that every day? No. So that's something I'm not going to beat myself up over if I'm not consistent, but I do think it's helpful. And in addition to that, I am recording, in that sense, everything that I did that day. So that is also a memory keeper. I am not going into detail about it, but at least I'm listing everything that I did that day. So it does serve two purposes there. So that was an intent. That is something that I haven't done. What I was finding myself doing, let's see. Here we go. Telework, grocery store. Yeah, no. that was not my intent. My intent was to start teleworking, but then maybe writing what I actually did that day for work. I know I'm keeping that in my my weekly catch-all planner, but I also feel like that would be kind of cool to have here because some of the activities that I do in work, while some of them are very routine, there are some projects that I work on that when I'm flipping through, it is a really cool memory. So I do want to work better at like breaking everything down. And then in the evenings, did I not do anything? I mean, some of them maybe, but I have done things in the evening. And when I say done things, I don't mean going out and dinner with friends. I mean, journaling, planning, working out, meal prepping for the next day. That is also stuff I want to record because again, it is showing me what I did that day, how I managed my time and stuff like that. So with all that said, I'm going to put that here. Then what I wanted to record is kind of just like, I don't want to say a highlight of the day, but in a way it is. It's like, I definitely wanted to at least record something about that day in the journaling section. So I wanted to journal. So we'll put that down as the next thing. So I did want to journal about my day. Now this is going off of memory from what I said, but I'm pretty sure this was kind of the highlights for what I wanted to record in here. So when I'm thinking about journaling from my day, it's kind of like maybe, writing about a highlight. So we can say highlight of the day or low light. Is that what they call it? Low light of the day? Because sometimes that happens. Like if I have a migraine or something, I may want to write about that because that definitely probably impacted the reason why I didn't do anything that day. I would assume that's a low light and not a highlight. So I want to journal about my day. I want to write about the highlights, possibly even what I'm currently feeling. So maybe what I'm feeling. I've already kind of discovered, if you guys, I a few videos ago, when I was doing, I think it was when I was doing my monthly setups, I kind of chatted about where I was currently standing with my planners and journals. And I realized I am not a touchy-feely type journaler. I really need to be because I have a lot of anxiety and stuff like that. But I just can't get myself to do that. So I decided to pull back and not put that as like one of my to-dos. I would like to attempt that sometimes in here. I don't want to make it something I need to do, but it's something I want to think about adding in here. Maybe eventually that could evolve and I can be doing Dear Diary type journaling, which is something I would also like to get into. So that's like the main purpose, but I also want to record, and I remember mentioning this, I also want to record some other things that I don't record elsewhere. Like one thing I wanted to do is my skincare routine. And that might sound really dumb, but I had subscribed to a lot of subscription boxes like FabFitFun, the Allure Beauty Box. I think I had another one at one point. So I've collected a lot of skincare products. So my skincare routine changes. Basically, once I run out of a product, I'm trying something new. I wanted to record the current products that I was using and then kind of just write a little bit about like how my skin was doing. So that way in the future, when I actually need to buy more, because that is not going to be anytime soon because I have so much, then I can like refer to some of this stuff. And my thought was I will record them in here and then maybe move that to another area. In like one kind of book or something, but I know I'm really bad at keeping up with stuff like that. So my thought was if I kept up with it in a daily like memory keeper, then I could just transfer that whenever I felt like it type thing. I definitely wanted to record my books and movies, and I'm doing that. That is the one success. I don't know how I'm so successful with that. There we go. So I'm filming this on the 7th, and I've already wrote all of the books that I've read each day. If I didn't read it, then I wrote did not read. What I watched, I don't watch very much TV, which is really weird because I used to be only a TV watcher. But now that I'm like journaling and planning and stuff, like I kind of do that instead of watching TV. And then at nighttime I read. So beside the point. But that one's good. That one is good. I don't know if I put that in like my initial intention, but it's my intention now. Currently prompts, which is, you know, part of books and movies as well. But when it comes to currently prompts, I have a currently journal. And what I do is every month I set up some pages in that journal. When I say pages, it could vary. I've only done it for one. I mean, I've done this for like 2.5 years, but I'm starting it a little bit differently this year. So this year, like my first currently, let me see. I was trying to fill it in for the month of February, but for the month of, I'm playing around with it for the month of January. I did like this like flip out here, and then I had like what I'm currently reading, what I'm currently, like a whole bunch of prompts there, what I'm currently watching, and then currently planning, and then this will be currently learning, and then just miscellaneous prompts. So again, I fill that out once a month. The problem is I'm trying to now go off of memory, and if I had some of those in here on a more regular basis throughout the month, then I could just flip through this and then come up with more of an accurate depiction of what I was currently doing for the entirety of the month versus that last week of the month which is what I can remember. So currently prompts. Right now, I think that may be it. I'm sure there's other things that I'm going to want to record, but this was kind of the gist of things that I have been thinking about as far as, you know, just things that I wasn't really capturing elsewhere that I felt could be helpful to capture in one place if it was a place that I was in every day. Just like the books read, I have a reading journal, but if I'm supposed to come into that one journal just to record the day I read and what book I read that day, I'm not going to do it because that's the only thing I need to do that day. But if I'm coming into another journal anyway, it's easy for me to record that. So that's kind of the thought process. So that was the purpose. I'm pretty sure there's some other things I'm going to want to record, and I'm sure that's going to add as time goes on. So now I'm going to start brainstorming ways that I think I can kind of make this become something that is part of my daily routine or semi-daily routine. At this point, I will take every other day because I do think every other day I should not forget that much that happened the day prior. Even if we're talking 48 hours ago, to like record most of that stuff in here. It's not going to be as accurate as it would be if I was to do it the night of, but I think even if I was to do it, you know, later, I should be able to remember it as long as it's within the 48. I think after the 48, things start getting like muddled, and it's like, did that happen on Tuesday or Wednesday? Which isn't as important, but still. So I think let's talk about my struggles first, and that might help with the game plan. My struggle is just, I'm going to honestly say remembering. It's remembering to use it. I'm not going to lie. I remember to use my planners. I keep my health and wellness planner actually in my living room, so that helps me there. I still haven't done that every single day for the past week or two. That bums me out a little bit. My daily planner stays on, my weekly catch-all stays on my work desk. So that's the reason why I'm in that multiple times a day. I do check it on the weekends, but that's usually because I'm doing setups. So I need to. I'm trying to think. Yeah, that's so yeah, just not, remembering to use it is the issue. And I even think if I was using this as a Franken planner, I could still possibly struggle, because when I Franken planned, which this, I would have to tear it apart and just punch it or whatever. But I just remember even Franken planning, I would go in and go into the sections that I needed to go in and then ignored the other. But that's another issue. So remembering to use it is my main struggle. And then I feel like just when I do remember to use it, one of my issues is, I don't know how to say this, but I know that I'm not the only one. It feels pointless sometimes to write in it when I feel like nothing really happened that day. So I'm going to say what to write when nothing happened. It's just hard for me, and I mentioned this when I was talking about doing my weekly memory keeping, to kind of get out of the mindset that it's just routine and I don't need to capture it like a routine activity that I do on a daily basis. But I do think it's probably important to capture those, because I feel like there's probably little changes that I would note that I probably wouldn't even notice otherwise if I didn't capture it. So I think that is it. I will say, in a way, one of my struggles, at least at the beginning, and I did try to remedy that this past week, we'll talk about that too, is what I wanted to do, and I guess this is going to be two struggles, is I want my journal to be pretty. So I want this to be pretty. I want it to be neat and pretty. And I think if you're watching this video, then my guess is you watch a lot of YouTube content, or at least some YouTube content. You may even go on Instagram and look at Instagram content. And you see all of these beautiful journal and planner setups. And I'm not even talking about just the setup. I'm also talking about after the pens, which I apologize, I don't share as many after the pens, but I do use my planners and journals personally. So sometimes I can't share them all. But when I look at other people's, I'm in awe, and I'm if they can do it, I can do it. And I mean, that's a good way to look at things. However, sometimes that's not very realistic, and I'm not selling myself short. I'm just saying, one of my favorite content creators to watch is my little journal, Heba. She actually is the one reason why I started using this, or wanted to use this as a journal. That's the whole reason why I found Hemlock and Oak, was because of Heba. And I discovered Hemlock and Oak in 2024, and I started using it in 2025. If you have not watched her content, I highly recommend it. It is amazing. She's super she's clean. Everything is very clean, aesthetically clean and neat. She doesn't use a lot of stickers. She uses a lot of stamps and things like that. It's just very, very inspiring. And a lot of my journals are inspired by her. The ideas came from her. And then I kind of made them my own, but whatever. Again, I ramble. If you're new, you will find that out. But when I look at hers, her daily journals, she comes in here on, I don't know if it's a daily basis or every other day or what have you, but she'll come into the blank page, and then whatever she's going to write about that day, she'll have stamps or stickers or whatever to kind of tell that story. So everything on that page tells an entire story. And she doesn't write about big events either. She'll write about today she cleaned the house or something like that, or something that was in the news. And then, she's writing about cleaning the house. She might put a stamp of a vacuum cleaner, that's what I mean. But I want to do that. But in January, I struggled. And then I realized that when I have to sit down and decorate and write at the same time, that's just way too much for me. That's when time becomes the issue too. So that's why I'm going to put on here time. So time actually becomes the issue when I want it to be neat and pretty and all be cohesive as well. And I've come to realize a couple of things. I bounced around there, so I apologize if you can't follow my train of thought. I can't follow my train of thought. But the couple of things I realized is, one, like I said, time. I can't do that all in one sitting. I don't know why. I can sit down for an hour and a half and do a journaling spread, but for some reason I can't sit down for 20 minutes to decorate the page that goes along with whatever I'm journaling. I don't know why, but we're just going to say time. The other thing I did learn is that I'm just assuming, but Heba's been on YouTube for a while. A lot of those content creators that do these really like gorgeous kind of themed type things, they've been at this for years. Like prior to their YouTube, they have been at this maybe for decades, who knows. And some of these people were into scrapbooking and things like that, and it transitioned into journaling and stuff of that nature. So they've been at this for a long time where it's more of a like second nature to them. And I got to keep reminding myself of that, that I can't do what they do at this present time because it's not second nature to me yet. So that's something I have to keep reminding myself. I think that is pretty much the gist of it, because when you start thinking about what to write when nothing happened, you want it to be neat and pretty, and then time or lack thereof, that's pretty much sums it up. So what I'm thinking is remembering to use it. What I could do to hopefully become more consistent is after I set this up, so we're going to put that first. So I'm going to set this up at least 1 week at a time. And when I mean set up, I want to decorate, but I also want to add structure. We'll get into that when we do the fun plan with me things. I have ideas. Then what I want to do is I think I want to have this on my work desk. So not on my shelf, which is going to bother me because I'm trying to keep things tidy and neat, and this is not going to help with that, but I think it needs to be on my work desk. That would at least help me be consistent Monday through Friday. And then hopefully maybe Sunday when I'm doing my reset, then I can come in and do Saturday and Sunday. I don't want to say on the weekends I'll come in here both days. So hopefully that will help. And if I know I'm setting it up once a week, then if I do that on Sundays or even Saturdays, and that's when I can write too. So I think that will help with it. And I think the wanting to be neat and pretty, that's going to come with decorating that in advance. What to write about when nothing happens, that's going to come with the structure. And I think what I want to do there is when it comes to the structure, the things that I want to record, I want to have areas in there for that. So I want to set areas or prompts for what to record. Okay. I think that's it. That's all I'm going to start with now because I don't want to like do too much because that's a lot. Yeah. So now I'm looking at the pages and I'm like becoming a little overwhelmed again. So yeah, I do suggest doing this if you're struggling though, figuring out what you want to get out of your journal, what your struggles are, and maybe how to fix those, because what I wrote that might help me might not help you. So I definitely think that's going to vary from person to person. So like I said, first thing, decorate. So I have stickers here. I have Amy Plans Things, Sweetheart Soda Shop, Moments and Moods. This has a whole bunch of fun like little scrapbook sheets and things like that I think I'll use the scrapbook sheets in here. They're stickers. This is only available as a printable because it did sell out. And then hand-drawn stickers. This is also really, really cute with the Sweetheart Soda Shop. There's a few stickers in here that I think will be fun to use. They're larger, so I can be one and done. This, I know she restocked on the 6th of February. However, her books sell out so quick, it could be sold out, but there's also a printable version of that as well. Then I have some stickers from Martina's Sticker Company, as well as some printable, this is printables, and then some printable stickers from Planet Darby. I will have my discount codes and links and all that fun stuff down in the description box, as well as the specifics from these stickers. So that's what I'm going to use to make it cute. So that's going to help me as far as making it pretty. It's also probably going to help with structure because I do have my pen. I might bring in some more pens. I have like red and there's probably a purple. I always get confused whether this is purple. So I have some of those. I also have my favorite washi cutter that I use to make lines with. Don't tell me I like misplaced it. Oh no. It's probably somewhere on my desk. I've misplaced it. I always misplace that thing. So we're going to have to use something else. But I think I definitely want to draw some boxes to kind of create that structure. So first things first, I said I wanted to use the time slot. So we're going to keep a lot of things over here fairly blank. The exception is going to be toward the end of the day. I don't really have very long nights, not even on the weekends. So I can probably decorate down here. When it comes to structure, I don't want to record my skincare routine every single day, because it mostly stays the same. So I think I'm going to want to record that on like maybe toward the end of the week, when sometimes I do struggle to write things in here. So let's record that on a Sunday. So we're going to skip around a little bit because I kind of want to start doing some of this stuff based on what I'm currently thinking about. So skincare is going to go here. Let's go ahead and decorate these 2 pages. I am going to be speeding up the decorating process just because this video is going to be fairly long. The first part was fairly long, so I don't want to keep you here all day, guys. I'm trying to be respectful of time. So what I figured is I will speed up me actually putting the stickers on the page, and then I'll come back and do a regular speed where I go over the reason for the size of the boxes, the prompts, and how I plan on using the boxes and things like that. And I am going to be setting up 2 pages at a time just because I do want to use the same sticker theme for 2 pages. So I will be popping in as I do both of those 2 pages to kind of go over everything. All right, there we go, guys. So the only prompt I set up for this day was my skincare routine, which is here. I thought about doing a currently prompt, but this is mainly the space that I have to write in. Again, it's greatly reduced, but considering what I've been like writing in here, y'all, that's way more than enough space probably for this, because again, it's just to kind of record what happened. Any other type of journaling can kind of go in other places, or like other memory keepers. If I want to elaborate, that's where that stuff goes. So that's the reason why this doesn't really get filled in. And then because I put this piece of decorative paper here, I needed to put some boxes to kind of add some space back. I added this here just to add color. This was the box that I wanted there. And then over here, kind of, you know, just added decorative stuff over here. I'm not going to set this up as far as the prompts go, because this is for the following week. I just wanted to decorate it because I want it to all look cohesive. So now this is partially a setup, but I don't want to do too much too far in advance as far as the setups, because I might change how things are going. So we're going to backtrack here. Now, this is when the other things come into play. I think I only need to record my skincare routine once a week, because if there were any changes, I can write both things there. I'm thinking this is enough room. I think there actually might be another box. I can probably put another small box there. There we go. Just to give me a little bit more space. as far as that goes, because as I started thinking, I have like different routines for the morning and the evening. So I want to record both of those, but I also want to write notes. So that gives me a little bit more space. That should be more than enough. That should be more than enough. Unless I run out this week and have to start something new, but whatever. That's when we add more boxes or what have you. But yeah, that only needs to be done once a week. What I think I'm going to focus on for the rest of the days is I am going to keep space to kind of like journal or write about the day. I'm not going to focus. Let's actually bring this back and put this here. I think that will just be helpful because I'll be like designating an area to do that. So that way it doesn't look overwhelming. But I also want to designate an area for a currently prompt because that's what I think would be very, very helpful if I focus on 1 or 2 currently prompts a day. Let's say on Mondays, I might focus on a certain one. On Tuesdays, I might focus on another one. Then that will help at the end of the month when I go to put all this stuff in my currently journal. So again, that's also helping with 2 pretty important memory keepers that I want to use on a monthly basis, but doing this on a daily basis helps with that. So for these, I think maybe we'll do those 2 there. We'll do these here. All right, so stamps. I have my currently stamps. These came from like a Temu one, I think. It says like they have currently, and then it has like film list, adventures, now watching, my playlist, moments, milestones, memories, book lists, stories, good eats, and then some other things like worth remembering and stuff like that. These are really, really cool. I don't even know what set I got this from because I cut them down to fit them and where I'm storing it. This is currently a set that I got from Leo by Mail. There are 2 of these. I think I got number 1. Number 2 just has a whole bunch of different prompts, but this was more than enough for me. So the prompts, let me grab this big one here, and I'm going to put the prompts that I think I want to use all on there. So they're already pulled for me, and then I'll use something else. So I don't need to do watching or reading because that is now captured on my monthly calendar. I do think I want feeling, liking and disliking. We're going to put those together. I want feeling because that's going to help me hopefully want to do more writing about my feeling. Doing and trying seems kind of similar. I have discovering. Discovering and trying are very similar. So let's do doing. Let's do discovering, because that can go 1,000 different ways. I can look inward, talk about that, or I could talk about things that I'm trying or whatever. I think I want planning. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do one more. I feel like liking is the same as enjoying, so we'll hopefully capture that. Considering or thinking. Thinking. We'll do thinking because I feel like that's a little bit broader. So those are the 5 prompts that I think I want to do. Or 6 prompts, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want those 2 to be together. So those are 6 prompts for 6 days. We got to figure out if Saturday is a good enough day to do some of this or what. But those are my currently prompts. So I think I'm going to use, this is a big currently. I have space, but because I want to use stickers, I don't have that much space. So I think we're going to use this currently. So we're going to throw that on here. Let's focus on I don't know. Let's pull good eats. That's something I never really write about. It could be fun to like write about like maybe like a good meal that I had that week. I can do that maybe on Saturday because I kind of want to focus on something each day too, just in case there's something not to write about for that day that I can like look back at the whole week. And then there's a highlight. Maybe we'll do highlights too. I think okay, that's good enough. Okay. So for these 2 days, my dad's birthday is the 10th. I think we're going out to eat on the 9th. So all right, so because it's my dad's birthday, I figured I will do the posh party one. None of this is really, none of this screams my dad, but you know, I want to use stickers that I have, and this is just kind of like my rough memory keeper. So it doesn't need to scream what my dad is. It's just very masculine. All right, so for Monday, I do want to draw, I guess out of all the colors that I did, now I kind of went brown. So I am going to draw some boxes. Again, this just kind of helps build structure. So that way I'm a little bit less intimidated when I come in here to write. So I think there's actually going to be something to write about on Monday. I think this is when we're going out. My dad's birthday is Tuesday, but I think there's somewhere he wants to go that serves something on Monday or something. So I think this is the day we are going out. So I'll make this box a little bit bigger. There we go. That'll be my journaling box to write about the day. Then I'm going to come into here and I'm going to do this. Okay. Something cool could go there too. Let's just do another box here because I have the room. And I think there's just going to be stuff to write about this day. So there we go. Look how it fills up the space. All right, the same thing this day. I don't know, because we're hanging out on Monday, I don't know that I will actually see my dad on his birthday. Plus, I think I may go into the office this day. So we're going to do a big box here. This is a big box for me. Apparently, I keep drawing past the line, so we'll just keep it as that. And I guess we'll come here and do that. And then we'll do another box here. Again, I cannot make this straight because I'm not following the lines. I don't know why. Okay. I think that'll be enough for that day. I have other space. Okay. Currently prompts. So I'm going to just use gray. I'm not going to change the colors based on whatever we're using. I think gray is just, it's a color that kind of goes with everything. I mean, I guess I could use browns. No, we'll use gray. Because there's like blues and grays in here, so. All right, so now I'm gonna pull out the purple one and I'm gonna do the same thing here. So when it comes, I know Thursday I'm going to probably have some things to journal about. So we're going to do a fairly big box here. Plus I find that, like I said, I'm going to have some things to journal about on Thursday, but if I don't have enough, like even if, you know, it's something big that happens, it still doesn't mean I have a lot to write about. So I can write my words larger or something like that, or doodle or what have you. But at least because I have this structure going on, I still think that helps, you know? It helps. So let's talk about why I kind of mentioned like why I like doing the structure, just because it's a little less intimidating when you start blocking things off like this. For me, you know, you're not looking at a big blank page. Even with the stickers, this is still a lot of room to decorate. So I do really well with journaling prompts. However, like I don't really want to do journaling prompts in here. Like I don't want to write about, like there's a lot of journaling prompt activities out there. I have a 3-year journal where I got a lot of my journaling prompts from Pinterest. And I do really well with that, but I only have to do 12 prompts a month and I already have them set up. And I set them up last year when I started the journal. If you're curious about those prompts, I do have a playlist specifically for my 3-year journal. So definitely check that out in your spare time. If you have spare time, I would love if you would check out some of those videos. But I just created prompts. Some of them are kind of thought-provoking. Some of them are a little touchy-feely. Some of them are like looking inward. Some of them are pretty silly. Like, you know, around Black Friday, it's like, hey, what did I buy on Black Friday? Or like, what was my shopping list versus what I bought? You know, stuff like that. Like, what is my budget? Stuff, you know, stuff like that. So some of them do kind of capture like what's going on. I mean, they all capture what's going on in the moment, but some of them are more like facts about what's going on. So like what I bought, what I'm, you know, stuff like that versus what I'm currently feeling and stuff like that, what's going on in the news, and things of that nature. And then there's a couple of like free journaling spaces spread out throughout that. I do really well with that. Like I said, the prompt is already set for me. But the purpose of that journal is to journal. The purpose of this journal is to memory keep and record my day. So they have very, very different focuses. And I feel like that is what kind of makes things a little bit different, if that makes sense. Okay, I kind of want this, I think, here. Yeah, I like that. Okay. And then maybe I'll put, something needs to be here. So maybe we'll just put this like, whoops. It is super cold here. So the humidity, I need to add like a humidifier. I think my hands are super dry. And that is the reason why everything is just sticking to me so much. I mean, I know they're stickers, but yeah. I think that's why they're sticking to me when I don't want them to. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, now that feels good. So now let's look at the prompts. So I've already done doing and feeling. See how bad my memory is that I just had to go back and like look at that. Okay, I think liking and disliking will go on one of these days. Because like I said, I have a little bit more journaling, I think, to do on these days. I think I'm going to journal here. I think I'm going to write what I'm planning here. I don't need to write a whole bunch about this. Again, it's just kind of capturing what's going on right now. So if it's like a sentence, that's perfectly fine because that captures what I'm currently planning. I don't need to elaborate on all of this stuff. For the most part, a lot of the things that I'm capturing here, as long as I can kind of remember it, it's not going to slip my mind. If I have it here, then I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right. And I can kind of remember. And if I want to elaborate in my weekly memory keeper, which is my hemlock and oak horizontal, then I can kind of do more in-depth memory keeping over there, which I also don't do that on a expansive level. I've done one plan with me thus far in it. I wanted to do more, but I started, it started getting a little like, not personal, but there were like photos and stuff that I didn't necessarily want to share because it did have personal information in there. So yeah. All right, so feeling, planning, doing. That was the only 3 I've done, right? Okay. Then I have thinking. Thinking, liking, disliking. Let's do discovering. No, let's do thinking. Now that I'm putting these prompts on here, these might be the same prompts that you'll likely be seeing in my currently journal, because now I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be recording this. I did do a good job of doing them here. It's just, there were other things on that first week of February, the first full week of February, that I didn't do as well. Okay, now I'm going to decorate this. So I don't think I'm going to use the highlights or the good eats. I just don't feel like, I feel like I could write about that stuff. I just don't know if I have, I don't know. I don't know. But I think, will this fit here? I think I'm going to do currently liking and disliking here. I know this is one of the larger boxes, but I feel like there could be a lot of things to write about there, and I can kind of tie it to the daily memories as well. There's no rules there. Oh, I should have done currently again. And then I'm going to do currently here. Let's see. Now I lost my place. Okay, I haven't done discovering yet, right? Okay, so I got to do discovering and disliking and liking. So we'll do discovering here, which I actually think is a pretty good prompt for Valentine's Day. Like loving yourself. Like, what am I discovering about myself? So that could be really, really cool. And then I'll do disliking and liking here. All right, guys, here we go. So I did want to show you the decorating and the setup for 2 reasons. I do know some people like to see plan with me's where you're actually decorating pages, whether or not they have a planner that's similar. It just kind of gives people ideas. So I definitely wanted to include that as part of the video, but I wanted to share with you the setup just so you can kind of see me actually going through the process of setting everything up. I am a decorative planner. Stickers make me happy. Seeing pretty pages make me happy. So that is another reason why I do add the stickers. Plus, I feel like I'm going to be more inclined to use them if they're pretty and they're making me happy. With that said, I do need to add structure. Now, I love this particular planner because of the lack of structure, because you have the hours, but then it's pretty much an open space. And because of the lack of structure, I'm able to create my own structure. And hopefully by creating this type of structure, it makes things a little less intimidating. By creating the boxes, now I have 2 boxes here that I can write about 2 completely different things without me thinking that I need to fill up the entire page with just one thought. Now I kind of can visualize, now I can write about multiple things regarding what I'm currently doing and then what happened that day. I know some people, this can, it can become second nature and you don't need to do this. For me, I really need to do this. I need to make things a little less intimidating. Now, I did try to keep this space as bare as possible. I might need to add a box there. Actually, it's probably more than enough room. Plus, I can write over this because I am going to write down everything that I did that day. Fingers crossed over here to kind of truly capture what I did in what hours, so that way it serves as memories, but also kind of auditing how I'm spending my day, where my time is going, and things of that nature. And then the currently prompts give me a little bit of guidance. Plus, it's going to serve that purpose as memory keeping, because it is a way to memory keep, and then help me when I go to fill in my currently journal at the end of the month. So this is hopefully going to work. If this doesn't, I'll just keep tweaking it until I can find that sweet spot. Maybe I need to add even more stickers to give me even less room. Who knows? Who knows? We will see. I will try to keep you guys updated on this. Maybe we'll do a few check-ins. Maybe we'll do a check-in every month or what have you. Because I do, like I said, I don't think I'm the only one that struggles with this. And those of us that struggle with this, usually this is something we really want to do. So it's not like because we're struggling with it, we're going to like bypass it and forget it. We really want to keep trying. So that's why I want to do check-ins and things like that. So there we go, guys. A chatty, but you know, it was also a fun video where I got to decorate some spreads as well. All right, guys. So if you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you have yet to subscribe, I hope you would also consider subscribing to my channel and help this little community grow. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to watch this video. I truly appreciate it. And I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.